Mr. Producer. Look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, you ready for the fucking ultimate fire? Hold on. Let's take a look here. Hang on one moment, ladies. Oh, shit. Got fucking... Oh, Naeem! Boom. Sorry, ladies. I had to throw the shirt on today. I didn't want to get you guys too distracted. So let's do a little Mr. Producer real quick. Mr. Producer, we got all them hoes. Naeem, I got all your hoes. Bumbaclat Naeem, I took all your hoes. All the Bangladeshi honeys have been conquered. They've been flown into the States and given what's it called? What do they call them? What do they call them, Naeem? I gave them all refugee status so they can stay in the U.S. with me. And to be honest with you, Naeem, they're much happier with me here in the States. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's just jump into it. Okay. Very uneventful couple of days in the markets, though we did have some structural reclaims recently that basically turned us back bullish on a macro standpoint. Okay. So a couple of people are thinking, all right, well, are we going into recession? Are we, USA is my dream country. Well, Naeem, get over here. Get out here. I'll take you down to Miami. I'm going to go to Miami on Wednesday for a week. So come out to Miami, Naeem. I'll take you out to the club, show you some of those Latinas. Naeem, you've probably never seen a Latina. Have you ever seen a Latina, Naeem? Put it in the chat. Naeem, you haven't even started your life until you've seen one of those Latinas down in Miami. They're different. They're built different. It's where they send the cream of the crop, the absolute prime honeys go to Miami. All the Latinas. You ever been there? Well, you've never seen one in real life, Naeem. They don't have Latinas in Bangladesh, do they? Quite the market analysis we're doing today, right? But yeah, Naeem, until you've seen a Latina honey in Miami, your life hasn't even started yet. You haven't even been born yet. Like, you think your life has started, Naeem. You think that you've been living life. You've never even taken your first real breath of fresh air until you've been in Miami and seen some of them Latinas down on South Beach. Anyways, Naeem, how are you going to get rich to be able to get to Miami? We're going to talk about financial markets to do so. So the title of the stream is XRP, Solana, Pepe are giving signal for the broader market. Okay. Why is that? Especially on something like Pepe, you're starting to see some bottoms form. Okay. Which is exciting because, okay, that means there's going to be an appetite for risk again. There's an opportunity for us to start to position in altcoins again. I'm going to talk about also another altcoin that we've positioned into within the private Discord that we haven't talked about on stream yet, but everybody on X, on YouTube have been talking about it for a little while now, but we positioned beforehand, and that's Fartcoin, okay? And so that's also given some signal to the broader market as well. So the idea right now is, after having the downside we have on equities, the tariff war, the trade war, the uncertainty, the VIX blowing off, etc., we have to say, okay, well, what makes sense from a risk standpoint? Do people have an appetite for risk again? And if they do, who's going to bid our altcoins? Who's left in the market? Who's left in macro, etc., to actually provide liquidity to our coins and to pump the bags? So who's left? Who is there? So these are important questions we have to ask, because otherwise, if there's nobody there to pick up our altcoins, or to have this appetite for risk and provide the liquidity to pump these bags, then there's no reason to position. Then we might as well just continue to play short, print on shorts, and go into a bear market. So as we talked about, these are do or die levels on ETH, on Bitcoin, on Solana, on XRP. We are at do or die. It is either this is the bottom and we have generational bidding opportunity right now, or we lose these levels and it's cooked and we're in a bear market, prolonged. Okay, those are your two options. So What am I looking at to continue to give me confidence as to what direction we're going? Well, let's take a look. So let me do a little Mr. Producer. Ready? All right. Screen capture, and we'll do this puppy right here first. Okay. So let me refresh and do a Mr. Producer right here name. You see this name? Okay, quickly, we're going to talk macro, then we're going to jump into the altcoins that we're positioning in. So, macro. Okay, where are we at with rate cuts? So, people are calling for recession right now at an alarming rate. Alarming in the sense that, not because I believe it's going to happen, but because it doesn't really make sense for a recession to take place. So, what are economic conditions in which a recession would make sense? People don't have jobs, so unemployment is high, okay? The economy is stagnant. We're not growing, okay? Inflation is high, going up. Interest rates are getting hiked, moving up, meaning it's more expensive to borrow money, less money into the economy, less innovation, less buying, less selling, et cetera, et cetera. A depression, right? An economic depression or recession, right? So these are the major factors. Also, global M2, liquidity conditions, nuking, right? Governments taking liquidity out of markets, right? And continuing to push down equities, crypto, everything that has to do with liquidity. So these would be the conditions in which you would see a recession, okay? So why am I confident at the very least recession talk is out the window, okay? Well, because we've been consistently cutting interest rates since 2022 because of what happened with COVID, right? So we went through the fastest interest rate cutting cycle with COVID. This is why you got the massive blow off top in crypto in 2021, right? Because you had a shit ton of money get injected into the economy and equity markets, okay? So you had interest rates come way down, then you get huge hikes through 2022. You go into a bear market, and then into 2023. There's your bear market. You have super high interest rates. Inflation's incredibly high. Unemployment's high. We're in the process of fixing all of that. All of that has been getting fixed. Inflation continues to come down lower and lower and lower and lower every single report. Unemployment, job data comes in good every single time, right? Interest rates. We're taking a look here at the Fed Watch tool, right? Interest rates, we had 4 priced in. Then we had gone down to 2. Then the tariff war happens. The trade war happens. Now we're back up to, looks like, 4 again. Beautiful. Look. So we're pricing in 1, 2, 3, 4 interest rate cuts this year. Beautiful, right? Again, not indicative of a recession, not indicative of a suppression of the economy. You're making interest rates lower. Companies, especially low cap companies, can borrow capital at a much lower rate, inject that into innovation, inject that into hiring, inject that into the economy, right? That's bullish, okay? So interest rate data looks good. Just get this done ASAP. I don't see a recession because of this, okay? Now, let's take a look at the charts. So we've been talking about global M2 and how this is a leading indicator, where when global M2 is up, markets typically follow afterwards. And when it's down, markets will do the same thing, okay? So let's take a look at Bitcoin, for example, okay? So we've been talking about this. Let me put on the indicator for M2, okay? Where are you at? Rusticlat. There it is. Okay, look at this. So another reason I don't see recession happening, okay? So you take a look at global M2. Let's do it even on a weekly time frame, just so you guys get a better idea of how this I have the top in log, so let's put this in log. Okay. So look at this. So we got global M2 here. What happened during COVID? We'll start there. Okay, just to show you how this works. So COVID happens right here. Okay, here's your COVID nuke. All right, March 2020. What happens right after COVID? The global M2, the monetary supply, goes straight up to here. Okay? Up into 2022. What happens to Bitcoin and altcoins? You get this massive double top and bull run from this very moment. As soon as COVID happened, it was up only. Okay? Why? Because M2 is going up. Okay. So just keep that in mind. I'm trying to teach you something here. So global liquidity is important. Why? Because liquidity is money. That's what goes into markets, right? So then you see how it's a leading indicator. So you top out here, you topped out back here, right? You come into this bear market in liquidity, you come into a bear market in equities and crypto. This starts pumping. Okay. So does Bitcoin. Then local pullback. What happened here? So we get this top in M2, right? This was this move right here. You get this move on Bitcoin, okay? You get this pullback in M2, draw it back down into here. Get this pullback lagged in Bitcoin, right? Okay, what are we doing now with global M2? What do world world governments doing right now, right? They're stimulating. China is in a economic depression right now, right? They're stimulating. Other countries are stimulating. Okay, the US is starting to stimulate with the rate cuts, right? They also cut quantitative tightening in half, which in turn is a net positive for liquidity conditions. So look at global M2. Global M2 is now at all-time highs right now. We're pumping at all-time highs. This is the highest liquidity has ever been. Well, this move right here, in part, sparked this move, this first huge leg up from all-time highs on Bitcoin. You get this pullback. You see this pullback. Now you see this starting to pump again, okay? Now, is it 100% correlated? Is it impossible for Bitcoin to go down while this is going up? No, it's not impossible. But if I'm looking at this and saying, okay, what are the chances that we're actually going into a recession, or this is an opportunity to, you know, on a long enough time frame, which I would say for the rest of this year, position for a much bigger move to the upside? I'm saying more higher probability that this is going to turn into some type of move into here, potentially to new all-time highs. So as long as this global M2 continues to move higher, it's more and more likely that we continue to move higher in equities, right? Does it have to be that way? No, it doesn't have to be. But I'm looking at it from a probabilistic standpoint, right? That's what we're playing, probabilities, right? What's the probability we go into a bear market, massive recession, and we want to be out of markets, versus this is a massive buying opportunity, markets should be moving up higher, okay? So I'm leaning towards bullishness from this point. So those are my macro indicators that I'm looking at saying, okay, that makes sense for us to continue to move up higher. So what do we do on these macro trend lines we were talking about? So on Bitcoin, we've had this bull market trend in log mode, right? This is the bull market trend line since September 2023 when we set in our bottom, and then we've been pumping ever since then, okay? So we obviously are respecting it because on the nuke in August 5th, we tagged it perfectly, and then we came back down, tagged it in September, came back down, tagged it in March, and then this is when we lost it, okay? So this is the first time that we lost the trend. So this looks like now was a massive bear trap, okay? So they did a false breakdown here from this bull market trend, right? Right? Bear trap. And then look what they did. Right? You get this nuke, you get this bear trap, you scare the shit out of people, get them to capitulate, get completely out of markets, and then you come back up, and you see how we're obviously respecting this trend line because we're tagging it all the way through. As soon as you lost it, you get a big, massive candle to the downside. You come back up, you tag it once, reject, tag it twice, reject. Finally, on the third candle, we reclaimed the trend, and then you see how we're playing with it right now. Now we're just consolidating right above it. To me, that does two things. It confirms, one, that trend line is playing. That is our bull market trend. Therefore, we want to pay attention to it. But it also says to me, okay, we did the false breakdown. We set it the bear trap. Now we're holding this trend line. As long as we hold this trend line and then we start moving up higher again, bull market's back on. Okay, that's how I'm reading this. On the other hand, we also have this trend, this downtrend that Bitcoin has also been respecting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tags. Okay, look at how well this played out. Where they intersected the downtrend and the uptrend is exactly where we reclaimed. This was the reclaim candle right here. Look, right where they intersected. Can't make this shit up. So we also had a break of market structure to the upside. So technically this is a market structure break. Okay, so I'll put that right here. Okay, that's a market structure break from this downtrend, flipping this technically into an uptrend. Okay, so now we just have to hold it. So beautiful. I say that, all right, it's good. It's another indicator that, you know, we're cautiously bullish on a lower time frame. Okay, is there opportunity for more downside? I still believe so. That's why I'm not super, you know, full port all the way back into markets at this moment, because I want more confirmation that the bottom is in. And the reason I need more confirmation that the bottom is in is because the underlying liquidity issues and the underlying trade war isn't actually done. Okay, so though I am cautiously bullish just due to strictly technical analysis, I'm not fully convinced quite yet that this is like full port, super bullish, game time, baby. We're fucking running this bitch back turbo, because the underlying conditions that created this local bear market, this local downside, haven't actually resolved themselves. Okay, liquidity is starting to resolve itself. We're getting closer to fixing that, but the trade war is not over, right? We haven't done anything with China. That's the big one. That's the most important one. And then the other countries, they're only on a 90-day pause. So it's just a pause. What happens after 90 days whenever they come back on, right? So cautiously bullish, okay? But that's from a macro standpoint. Now let's take a look at these indicators I was talking about in terms of what's giving us signal between XRP, Solana, Pepe. We'll take a look at Pepe first, okay? So Pepe is doing something very... it's pretty clear that it's trying to bottom here, okay? So on a daily time frame, you look at Pepe. We got this major demand zone all the way across here from this 10x move down from the lows back in March of 2024. So you rip a 10x on Pepe last year. Okay, we start consolidating, you know, moving sideways basically here, and then you get this another big rip from the Coinbase listing. So from this low, you got yourself another 4 or 5x, right? If you want to count it from this low, you can say 7x, okay? So another ripper. So what have we been doing here on Pepe? What's giving a signal that people are getting a risk on appetite again? Look at this. Look at this divergence on Pepe and ETH, okay? So Pepe, very interesting what we're doing here, okay? This is what's making us say that, all right, risk on appetite is coming back for markets. This is making me cautiously bullish again, okay? Look at this low on Pepe compared to ETH, okay? So Pepe sets this low, and guess what ETH does? Sets this local low as well, okay? So from this low, this was on March 11th, 2025. Okay, and this is actually, if you go back to the streams and you watch, we were calling for this to be the low on these coins, right? Because it just made sense in terms of the timing from the global M2 standpoint and from the last ETH nuke standpoint, where would be the bottom for these altcoins. It didn't necessarily actually play out for ETH, but it played out for the other altcoins on ETH, which is interesting. So here's how you see Pepe is giving us signal here, okay? Look at this divergence that we got on Pepe, okay? So from the same time frame, ETH is trading at lower prices than where it was on March 11th. So ETH has continued to capitulate, set this bear trap right here. Okay. And is trading lower. Pepe is trading higher than this level right here. So what does that mean? Two things. Number one, Pepe is becoming more valuable in comparison to Ethereum, right? So the value of Pepe against ETH, not just the USD pair, I'm talking the ETH pair, Pepe divided by ETH, the value of that pair has been going up. That's good. Why? That means that by holding Pepe, you are outperforming Ethereum, which is the whole point of holding beta, the whole point that we hold Boys Club, ETH, or you hold Pepe, Brett, Andy, Wolf, right? It's good. This is a good sign. So when you see this divergence on these assets like this, that's starting to say, okay, we're at least trying to set a bottom, okay? Because ETH has continued to capitulate and go down lower, but Pepe's trading higher. Pepe is now in a structured uptrend, right? This is an uptrend, okay? We got to just break up higher from these highs. ETH is still in a downtrend, right? So it's a divergence, it's a bullish divergence on these assets. So I see that and I go, okay, good. That means appetite for risk is coming back. Beautiful. So even though ETH is continuing to capitulate, people are coming in and they're fucking scooping up Pepe at a discount. People are looking at this, whales are looking at this and saying, holy shit, we have such a ridiculous discount on Pepe. We're deep into this demand zone. Anytime we kind of rolled back into this demand zone, you see how we quickly wick back up into it, right? We hit it here, went right up above it again. People are looking at this and saying, oh, this is fucking discount territory. I'm ripping here. I'm ripping here. I'm buying in here, even though ETH is doing this, right? That's a signal that a bottom is close, okay? Again, could there be more local volatility, more local downside, and we kind of do something like this, maybe? Possible. When ETH does like one more stab like this. Yeah, possible. But we got to be close, right? These things look like they're gearing up for another move up higher. If you look at something like Fartcoin, okay, we were talking about this a little bit in the Discord. I had made a position in this earlier. I'm only going to talk about it now because we've already positioned. But Fartcoin has also been a huge indicator for risk on appetite. So as this asset has been moving higher, it's signaling that the market's ready to return to risk on, okay? So we bottomed out here in March, right? March 10th, March 11th, which is what I was saying with Pepe, same thing. This looked to be the Pico low for a lot of these altcoins, that even though ETH, just because of how poorly it's traded, has capitulated even further from March 11th levels, altcoins have been starting to bottom out and rotate back up. Okay, so I'll put ETH down below again. Okay, so you look at same thing, right? Over here, we put the bottom in on March 10th for Fartcoin. Now, yeah, it's on a different chain. I get that. But ETH is a major and a risk-on indicator as well, right? ETH BTC pumping is an indication of true alt season, alt performance. This has been coming down lower. Fartcoin has only been coming up higher. Okay? So the reason I'm showing you this is because you have to be watching the entire market and say, okay, what's going on market wide? What altcoins are pumping? What L1s are moving up? Who's bottoming? What's doing what? What is the type of environment that we're trading within right now? Well, you see, if Fartcoin is moving up like this and bottoming, while ETH and some of the other majors have still drawn down, That means people are risk on appetite again. They like these levels. That's good. The bottom has to be close unless, like I was just saying, yeah, we go into a recession and then it's just a full-blown bear market. Then you're just going to see shit like this happen where you're going to see this turn into distribution right here, this little distribution, and then you're just going to see it come like this again, right? And there's just the exit pump, which is possible, right? But we're going to be paying attention to it. But the reason I'm showing this is because as soon as this started curling up, like on this move, this is when you should have said, okay, clearly this is a risk on indicator. We're moving up off of the lows from March 10th into the end of March. Clearly risk on appetite is coming back, and this is a winner in the market, okay? So when you see something like this playing, you got to say, all right, hold on, I want to make a position in here. This is clearly a leading asset. This is the first coin that people are looking at whenever they want to get back risk on. This is what they're bidding. Okay, be cognizant of that because you can't be stagnant in these markets. If this is the risk on indicator, people are bidding this before any other altcoin, we want to get a position in this. And this one, I threw it into the Discord at this time. So you wait for this pullback, right? So you get this pump here, so you just wait for the pullback. You see this little consolidation right here. This is where you would have wanted to enter if you had never positioned in this coin before. Which makes sense because, all right, you had this demand all over here, this consolidation, right? You also had it over here, right? But clearly, as soon as you get above these levels, right, boom, you pump. As soon as you get above this level, boom, you pump. So when you come back in and retest this demand zone, this is where I was positioning at. Positioning down here, and these candles right here, right? Okay, and then you get this big move up off the demand. And so look, just even on this move, you're already up over 2x. You just doubled your bag. Boom, easy. Not easy, but you get what I'm saying. Boom, right? So this is what you got to play. This is why it's important to be in a network where guys are actually playing this and seeing what's going on so you can capitalize on these moves. Because even this right here, from March and April, when everything's down, you could have played this and bang, you're already up 2x. You already doubled your bag. You put in 10K, you got 20 grand right now. Just up off of this move. So it's giving me confidence that people are trying to go risk on again. Okay. All right, let's take a look here. So at this point, I'm not going to tell you out here. If you want to know when another re-entry point would be, where you would want to buy into this again in order to catch the next move up higher, as long as the markets actually turn around, you have to be inside the Discord for that. Because there is a level I'm watching to be able to re-enter with more size, because clearly this is the play. Okay, this is a play. There is a clear level here where you would want to bid it again. Okay. Okay, let's see. Yeah, like right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just an obvious level. Okay. XRP, right? We're talking about how XRP is an indicator. So same thing with Sol. Sol, I like this little reclaim of this macro mid-range. Okay, so clearly there's a lot of price interaction here. Right now, we're currently reclaiming this mid-range. We have to get back above this 130 level confidently and start moving up to these lows over here. Okay. So you see here clearly on Solana, this 130 level is a very important demand zone. So you see how we continue to bottom out here on Solana, right? And then trade higher up into these fibs, the top of the range, right? This reclaim is super important. This major level here at 130. So if Solana can start doing this and reclaiming this and start doing this again, we're looking good. Okay, so Sol is also giving me some indication that, all right, we're reclaiming the levels that we need to reclaim. XRP, quickly, we'll see. XRP, huge reclaim. Okay, huge reclaim. Look. So this is the macro range locally on XRP, right? So we had been trading in between this 0.51 on these fibs, right? And so right here in April, this is where the bears tried to kill it. Okay, you get this bear trap, this deviation of the range, right? Okay, you get this range deviation. Look, because look at how perfectly this range is played, right? Wick, wick, almost, wick down, wick down, wick down. Every time it wicked down in here, it got bought back up instantly. Tops out here at the top of the range right here. Okay, so clear mid-range here. Okay, so we come back down and we almost lost it on XRP. If you lose this level, right, and this bear trap was actually a true breakdown, right, XRP was coming all the way down into here again, into these levels. Because there's pretty much no price action here. Because look at this. This is tiny, tiny. There's no market structure here. So if you lost this macro range on XRP, it was fucking cooked. Okay, cooked. Trading way lower. So here's why this reclaim is, again, confluence that we're trying to go risk back on. Is we lost it, and we actually closed for the first time a couple candles outside of the range. Never before had we closed any candles outside of this range. We closed 1, 2, 3 outside of the range, and on the fourth day we reclaimed. We retested the resistance, turned it back into support. We closed right above, opened, and we pump up higher. Okay, this range reclaim is huge because when I'm watching this, I'm saying, okay, if XRP starts doing this, this was the last super strong altcoin that hadn't broken down during this pullback in altcoins. It's like, yeah, it's been in a downtrend, but it hasn't nuked, 90%, 80% like most other altcoins have. The lowest came down 50%. Most other altcoins are down 80, 90. So it's shown way more strength, right? So the fact that we reclaimed that range shows me again, okay, there's appetite for risk coming back to the markets. They're trying to save this chart and keep it within this range so it's sexy to bid still, okay? So that's a huge range deviation. Reclaim. So we got to just do this. Boom. Okay? So again, cautiously bullish. I'm not fully deployed into markets yet, right? But I'm gaining confidence again that we should be reversing soon, okay? So Solana, boom. Show you something interesting here too for equity markets. So what's been pulling back equities so much as well is the Mag 7 stocks have been underperforming, right? So Nvidia's been nuking hard. Tesla, Microsoft, Google, Meta, all these companies have been nuking pretty hard off of this downturn in equities. And so there's a good piece of alpha in this chart that I'm going to show you, this pair chart, to let you know how equities are going to perform, okay? So down below, you have the QQQ index, right? This is how QQQ looks right now. So you get your bottom here during the bear market in 2022. You got your top here in 2021, right? And then we topped out in February 25, and we've been nuking ever since, okay? And first top was in December 10th. This is when altcoins topped out in crypto. Okay, so we've been nuking ever since. This chart, QQQ, the complete inverse of it is just QQQ minus the Mag 7, okay? So Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Tesla, Amazon, Google, Meta. So you take QQQ minus those 7 major, right, assets out of the index, and you see it's literally just the inverse chart. So what's the alpha in this? So anytime this chart is in a downtrend, this index is pumping and equities are pumping, okay? Why is that? Well, that means that QQQ minus the sum of those 7 assets is coming lower. Why? Well, then that means that the assets within these parentheses, the value of these 7 assets are going up in comparison to the QQQ index. So if you're subtracting by a larger number, this chart's going to come down. So that means that those 7 assets weighted against the rest of the index were getting more value compared to every other company. That means they were pumping hard than all the other companies. When this chart comes higher, that means that these 7 assets within the parentheses are coming down in value relative to the full index. They're underperforming. Well, so you get a pump here. What do you see here on the index? You get a dump. So that's really interesting because that shows you how much NVIDIA, Microsoft, Tesla, Apple, all these companies matter to these major index and equities, because when they underperform, the rest of the market underperforms because they're so much more weighted compared to all these other companies that if their market caps are nuking, the rest of the indices, the rest of the equity markets are nuking. So it's interesting to know that, because when you now look at something like NVIDIA, right? So I'm giving you guys fucking alpha right now. Let's see. Let's leave that. Let's look at NVIDIA, right? Whoops. The fuck was that? You see what happened to NVIDIA. You see how it's been coming, nuking off of the highs. NVIDIA looks like it's going to come back down lower again. But if we can get it to stop out in this demand region right here and start bottoming and start moving back up higher, then we're good. But the reason that this is important, that something like NVIDIA is nuking, is because down below, if we put, QQQ, or we could even put, we can put QQQ. Okay. You see how it looks similar to the NVIDIA chart, right? So NVIDIA is performing well, so is QQQ. NVIDIA is underperforming, doing poorly, so is QQQ. So you want these Mag 7 to perform well and understand what's happening with NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, the race with AI, what's going on with these chips. The tariffs are preventing from certain chips from coming into the country, all this bullshit that's going on. To take away a lot of the noise, you just got to say, okay, well, are we in an environment where NVIDIA is going to perform well, right? Because this has been our risk-on indicator in equities. Well, if NVIDIA is close to bottoming, then that means equities and crypto and those assets should be close to bottoming, okay? So again, it's another piece of confluence. Why do I think it's close to bottoming? Well, if we start turning around, you're going to see this one more stab down below for NVIDIA. That's why I still see some local volatility to the downside still. But if you can hold this demand region, okay? Hold this demand and start to bottom and come back up higher, bottom's in. We're good. If we lose this level on NVIDIA, so I'm giving this to you to watch. If we lose this demand on NVIDIA, you're kind of fucking cooked. Because look, the only other piece of market structure that could kind of save you would be like a stab into here. Like that would be your only other hope, would be you get caught by this little piece of market structure. If you don't get caught by that, I mean, yeah, you're looking at your recession that we're talking about, because this on NVIDIA is a very inefficient move, right? There's no market structure. There's no consolidation. There's no demand buildup. It's just straight up. So once you lose this demand, you lose these levels, this only bit of market structure, you're coming all the way back down into here on NVIDIA. You're coming into this region right here, which is much lower, much lower. So I'm watching this saying, okay, like this is do or die. This is either we hold these exact levels and we run it back fucking turbo, or if you lose these levels, it is cooked. Like that's just what it is. Okay. So that's the way I'm looking at it, is this is do or die. Okay. This is your very last piece of market structure support in here. Otherwise you're coming down and you're getting fucking cooked. Okay. So there you go. There's some macro, there's some equities, there's some crypto. One other one that we'll mention too is we talked about this on Monday. So this has been following the path that I kind of drew for it. So up here, I had it coming back down into here. We got a little bounce right here. This is the others chart. So we put it on a little bit of a higher time frame so you can see this. So others is total crypto market cap excluding the top 10 assets. This is again your alt season indicator basically. This is breaking out to new all-time highs. You're in an alt season because altcoins are taking up more total market cap compared to the top 10 assets, right? So we topped out at the 1, topped out at this bit of the range, try to break out last cycle, come back into a bear market reaccumulation. And then this was our last 2 mini alt outperformances. So you get this one in January, all right, up out of the bear market, up into March of 2024. This is when Pepe ripped its 10x from the lows. You get this downtrend. You break the downtrend, market structure break, which we just had on Bitcoin. Come back down, retest it. One last scare in November. Then you get this huge outperformance in December. This is where we topped out in December. Look, this is also where the chart topped out for altcoins. Okay. Ever since then, we've been in a structured downtrend all the way down to this major demand zone again, which is where we had, basically marked the lows multiple times, right? So this is where the demand held back in January of 2024. These were the lows. Held here. This was just the August 5th nuke, but quickly got bought back up into here. Held here. Pump. Okay. Now altcoins have made it all the way back into this demand zone. Again, another piece of confluence. Why these are do or die levels. Every other time this demand zone has held. This has been the lows, okay, on altcoins. Okay. Well, we did it. We came, we held it. We had our little nuke there. This was our little August 5th nuke. Here's our little nuke. Get people to capitulate, get scared, move out of the market. Okay, bear trap. We pump back up into the downtrend. Obviously, we're respecting it because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 taps of this trend line. Okay, we rejected it off of it again. So I was saying, all right, we'll probably draw back down, come for these lows, right? On altcoins, this is do or die. We either lose this demand zone and we go into a bear market and altcoins are cooked, or we fucking run this bitch back turbo up to all-time highs. And if not all-time highs, because of the liquidity conditions that we could be heading into, then we should finally get our break of that 4-year macro range for altcoins into this 1.618. And that's when you get your alt season. Your alt season happens when you get the break to all-time highs. So this move right here. Okay? Because we had 1, 2, 3 taps at this one, the $425 billion mark. You break this and hit it the 4th time in bullish conditions, this shit is breaking out, right? Because the first time we rejected, second time kind of broke out, but not really. Okay. This is the first time we hit it. Second time we should break out. And if we break out, we go up to 645 bill at least. Okay. So pay attention to this. Again, we're watching it every single day inside the Discord, but that's what I'm watching for. Okay. A break of this market structure. Altcoins are bullish again. Boom. This is basically my final indicator. As long as we don't lose market structure on Bitcoin and we maintain this reclaim and we keep grinding up higher, and then as long as Nvidia and these equities don't break down any lower, as soon as we see this chart break out to the upside, a market structure break similar to how we had over here, right? As soon as we break this downtrend, you're going to get a nice pump up, but you're going to get this retest. This is where you're jumping back in. This is when you're grabbing your assets over here. Over here. Okay? And then you get your pump. So I'm looking for that over here. You give me a break out of this. You give me a retest. Everything else looks good. I'm saying, all right, I'm fucking bulled up to the tits right here. Let me run this bitch back turbo. Okay? So clear levels. That's what I like about what's happening right now. The market is boring, but there are clear levels for me. Okay? For me, it's clear levels. It's one or the other. It's either we fucking run this bitch back turbo, or we're cooked and we take our positions to a different strategy and we make money a different way, which we've been talking about inside the Discord. We're actually doing on Saturday, for the gentlemen inside of the Discord, And those of you that are watching live right now, on Saturday, we're doing a live call inside of the Discord. I'm going to go live, share my screen, and I'm going to teach you all the different things for leverage trading. So short, long, how we're going to hedge for certain situations, and how we want to open up our positions for this next move up higher so we can print on the longs and shorts. So we're going to do that on Saturday. We're going to do a live training. We'll be on the voice call, video call. Put your questions in the chat. I'm going to do it probably at 1 Eastern because I'm doing the live stream at 2 Eastern. So we'll do it at 1 Eastern. Just make sure you're in the Discord. I'm going to go live, and then we'll do the training together. For those of you that are not inside the Discord, which is a rookie mistake, link is in my bio on X, because I know we have a ton of live viewers on X. Link is in the bio on X, thetaylorscode.com. Join as a professional or as a gentleman to make sure you get access to the Discord. The gentleman will get you access to the private crypto plays portion of the Discord, which is where I show all my personal positioning, what I'm buying, when I'm selling, when I'm buying these assets. I'll go over your portfolio. I'll show you how to position for yourself. I'll do live trainings with you, work with you on TA, work with you on whatever it is that you want to work on. We'll work on it. So make sure you join the Discord to get access to that, because we're in there every single day doing these. And let me double check anything else. No, everything else should be good to go. Yeah. Any questions, comments, concerns, anybody? Throw in the chat real quick, and then we're pretty much good for today. We'll talk in the Discord about Saturday. So we'll do the training at 1 p.m. on Saturday. We'll go live in the Discord. I drink all my espresso. Damn. I drink that shit so fucking fast. Speaking of the devil. Good? Yeah, the other chart is juiced up to the gills, Bobby. Juiced up to the fucking gills. So I'm saying this thing breaks out. We are fucking flying. Because look at how fast it flies. Right? As soon as you break out from this downtrend, you do a quick little consolidation. And then boom. Ripper. Same thing here. Quick little consolidation. Boom. Ripper. Just straight up. Because this is just everybody aping back in and FOMOing back into these charts, because everybody capitulates, quits, gets out of markets, stops paying attention, stops showing up to live streams, stop paying attention to the Discord. Everybody just gets discouraged down here, and they just quit, and they just stop looking at charts. And then one day they wake up on a move like this, and they see everything's pumping. They're like, oh my goodness, oh, what happened? They start buying back up in here, right? They start buying back up in here, and that effect creates this effect. They start buying back up in here. That effect creates this effect, where you just start ripping up higher, because people are just going to FOMO. They're just going to keep FOMOing back into these charts. That's why they rip so hard so fast. It's a slow bleed on the downside, because people try to have hope, try to cope. Oh, it's gonna pump again. It's going to keep going. Keeps going down until finally you get everybody to capitulate. Boom. One little pump. Boom. One little pump right here. Right? This little pump. Get this pullback. Everybody jumps back in here. And then you just keep going up. Right? The idea is to not buy back up in here. The idea is to be back inside the Discord with the gentleman and being back in here and here and here. And then you get this whole move up to the upside. Right? That's why it's a no-brainer to invest $50 a month to be a part of the Taylor's Code, be a part of the private Discord, so that $50 a month is going to make you an extra 10, 15, 20, 100, $500,000, an extra $1 million in the course of a cycle, because you're positioning way better. You're also positioning in a way where you can make money on the downside. Like, that's the point of being a part of a network. That's why people who have a team around them who know what the fuck they're doing win at the highest levels. You're not going to compete. You're not going to be successful with one person versus 100, right? The gentleman inside of the Taylor's Code, we have an advantage because we have a group of people who are watching these markets and trading together, giving each other confidence, giving each other analysis, so that we understand, oh, okay, here's what I'm thinking emotionally, here's what's happening emotionally, but here's what I should be doing in a logical sense. What's the highest EV take position that I should be taking right now, right? So understand, if you're an investor, you understand that $50 a month is a no-brainer to be able to make an extra 50 grand this cycle, even if you have a $1,000 portfolio, right? So, all right, that's it for today. I'm getting a custom tuxedo made right now, so I'm gonna go see my tailor. So, speaking of the fucking tailor's code, I'm gonna go see my tailor. I'm getting a custom tuxedo done. I'm going to Vegas in May. For anybody who's out in Vegas, I'll be in Vegas from May 4th to 10th. So I'm getting the custom tux made. I'm gonna go get some measurements. He's gonna do my bow tie, the shirt. He already did my measurements for the suit jacket, the pants. I'm gonna be looking fucking fresh, motherfucker. You think all I do is crypto? Fuck no, I'm the ultimate professional. Got the custom tux. Got the fucking AMG bang. I've been stacking USDC, so I'm ready. Fuck yeah, Bobby. Beautiful. Yeah, keep loading up on the cash. Keep loading up on the stable coins. As soon as we get confirmation that altcoins are about to fucking fly again, we're aping hard. And I'm only telling the people inside the Discord. So don't be fucking DMing me on Instagram. Hey, bro, hey, bro, hey, bro. Join the Discord, motherfucker. All right. How do I do Mr. Producer? Hold on. Here. Mr. Producer. Like, comment, subscribe, like the stream, retweet it, comment under it. If you think I'm a dickhead, tell me I'm a dickhead. I don't care. Engage with the content. Let's spar a bit. Tell me what you think is happening in the markets. I'm going to Vegas for a award ceremony with the insurance company. You know I'm a top player. Always competent in all realms. So we're doing an award show in Vegas. I'll be out there early though, just to, be in Vegas, and then I'm going to Miami for a week. I'll be in Miami for a week. I'll send you some pictures of the Huns that I'm with, Naeem. Let you know what America looks like. All right. Boom.